Dr. Ron Paul. Dr. Paul, give me your take on that's a pretty good shot. You might want to take Econ 101. And of course, that gets passed along to the president. What is he not getting about what's going on right now, sir?
Well, he's an authoritarian. There are a lot of those up in Washington, D.C. They think they know better than people making their own choices. And what he's talking about is price controls. And price controls, when you price something below the market rate, it always occurs that you get shortages. You know, this idea that he's going to set the prices and all of a sudden they're going to go out and buy more oil to replenish it. No, I remember 1971 real well when they put wage and price controls on when they closed the gold window. The next day there were shortages because they knew everything for replacement would go up. So as messy it is now, so far I've been able to go buy gasoline. You know, the price is up a little bit, but that doesn't mean the price of the oil is up. That's the only problem. That means the dollar value is going down. And I like to emphasize that because if you don't look at the dollar's value and you look at prices, then you have come up with these cockamamie decisions by presidents say, oh, what we need to do is you guys need to just sell it for free, sell it for less. Do that, lower the prices. We don't care about whether you make profit. Total fallacy. They need more than Eco 101.
Yeah. Could you remind people how well those wage and price controls worked in the 70s?
Well, I'll tell you what, they were very impressive on me because I can remember the instant on a Sunday night when Nixon came on and put them on, because I had been introduced into Austrian economics in the 60s, and there were a lot of predictions there, but the people who predicted and understood what was coming, they weren't in government. They were studying economics, and they had a lot of views, and they were absolutely right. So when that happened, it was a light bulb coming on. You know, the Austrian School of Economics knows what they're doing, but it was disastrous. And I was practicing medicine, you know, at the time. And the one thing is doctors had to stay on price controls longer than anybody else. But just shortages. And the whole thing is they have given up on a principle, the principle of voluntarism. You know, voluntarism can solve most of our problems. Now, we can't do anything socially or economically or internationally without an agreement with people, because otherwise you're an authoritarian, you're a thug.
Right. Let's take a look, by the way, at the tweet from Jeff Bezos, Amazon CEO. Ouch. Inflation is far too important a problem for the White House to keep making statements like this. It's either straight ahead misdirection or a deep misunderstanding of basic market dynamics. It does seem as though this president likes to blame what makes our country special, and that is free enterprise and capitalism. He always takes a shot as if something's wrong with making a profit.
Well, he's a reflection of what's been wrong in our country for a long time. Some of it is pure political gain, and they're playing these tricks, blame somebody else and lie if you have to, and that sort of thing. But it's also a reflection of an educational system that has just been horrible. And it was really introduced to us in the 30s when we had the Depression. That's when Keynesianism, interventionism, and central economic planning, that's when the Fed really got its power and its clout, which it continues to have. And that is it's an economic planning system. That's why people should look more into the Federal Reserve, because it's the Fed that's causing the problem, and they accommodate everybody and anybody who wants some money spent, because they're taught in school also deficits don't matter. Right. If they thought if it reflected they were concerned about deficit, none of this would happen. But they're not concerned.
No, and that's Keynesian theory, by the way. For folks that aren't familiar with it, they think you throw money at problems, that it's not going to have a consequence when you drive up the deficit. Obviously, it is have a consequence because that's part of the inflation. The Fed is buying debt that it shouldn't be buying. And the thing that I think worries a lot of people, Dr. Paul, is the only way to fix this seems to be to cut off the water faucet of money, to actually stop giving away money and raise interest rates, because that's the only thing that worked back in the 70s.
Yeah, and that would be difficult politically, right at this moment. To do that would be very difficult. But the founders understood exactly what we're talking about. They had the runaway inflation with the continental dollar, so they put it into the Constitution that only gold and silver could be legal tender. And if we'd have followed that, we wouldn't have had the welfare warfare state with these huge deficits and what we're facing. Because I think what we're facing today is a lot worse than what we have had in the past, whether it's the Depression or whether it was the downturns we've had in recent years.
Yeah.
I think the bubble is bigger, the debt is bigger, the demands are bigger, and people are way overconfident, even though they're getting worried. They're way overconfident that you can take your debt at $10 trillion in a few years, switch it to $30 trillion, and nothing changes.
Nothing
Other than
changes,
the fact
right.
they say what the problem is, we need more money. That's all they say.
Yeah, and they keep printing more money, and we're off the gold standard, as I'm sure you could go into in depth. Unfortunately, we don't have more time right now. I could talk to you a lot more, Dr. Paul. Thank you so much for being with us today, sir.
Thank you very much.